All right, everyone ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Well, good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for the Town of Rocky Mountain House Candidate Election Forum. I'm Michelle Metheringham, Executive Director of the Rocky Chamber. I'd like to say thank you to Roxanne Franchuk, who is also with the Chamber and who will be our timekeeper tonight. And at this moment, the other Chamber member I see on is Lynn Webster from our board. So I am going to go to just a different screen here myself. And the town candidates we have joining us tonight are the following: Dave Auld, Shane Boniface, Marley Caparo, Faith Chamberlain, Marin Fraser, Tina Hutchinson, Michelle Narang, Leonard Phillips, Ralph Herzog, Barry McQueen, and Glenn Waskowicz. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. What we are going to be doing, we'll do a quick review of the roles and the timelines and so on, and then we will go into opening statements. So for the opening statements, each candidate will have a 3-minute timeline to make their opening statement, and the moderator and timekeeper will be monitoring the time. After opening statements, the audience will be given an opportunity to ask questions to the candidates. These questions may be regarding the policies of the candidate, local, regional, or national issues, comments that were made during opening statements. Questions should be concise and to the point, but allowances might be made for a short preamble to give the question appropriate context. The moderator and timekeeper will ensure that questions are acceptable. They're to be addressed to all candidates. And if you have a question you would like to include, please private message it to myself. The general chat has been turned off for this meeting, but you can message myself and I can include your question. Candidates will be broken into groups of 3 or 4 to answer questions, giving more opportunity for the audience to ask questions. So just a note on that, those groupings are: in group 1, we have Dave Auld, Marin Fraser, Tina Hutchinson, in Glenn, sorry, I don't have your name in front of me, Glenn Waskowicz. In group 2, we have Barry McQueen, Len Phillips, Michelle Narang, and Faith Chamberlain. And in group 3, we have Shane Boniface, Marley Capero, and Ralph Herzog. So that's the answers, that's the groupings that we'll be answering. So all questions are intended for all candidates, but they will not all have the opportunity to answer, basically due to the size of the candidate, sorry, how many candidates are running, and to be considerate of your time and theirs. Each candidate will be given 2 wildcards. Wildcards may be used by candidates to speak to a question when it is not their turn. So if a topic comes up that one of the candidates would like to speak on, they can use one of their wildcards and have that opportunity. Candidates will be given 2 minutes to answer the questions and do so in randomized order as set by the moderator. At the end of the question and answer period, the candidates will be given 2 minutes for a closing remark. Each candidate must ensure a level of professionalism during the forum. There shall be no personal attacks against any other candidate or audience members, and candidates must ensure their comments and answers are kept appropriate and purposeful. All right, I hope that made sense to everyone. If you have questions, please feel free to send them to myself in the chat. And with that, I am going to ask Mr. Auld if he will start with his opening statement, and Roxanne, if you will do the time on that one, please.
All right. Good evening, everybody. I'd just like to start by thanking everyone who has taken the time out of their evening to join us on this Zoom platform. My name is Dave Auld. I'd like to introduce myself as one of the candidates in the upcoming municipal election. I've lived and raised my family here for the last 20 years. I truly feel it's a wonderful place to live, work, and play. My wife and I own the local Napa Auto Parts store. We've been enjoying serving the community and being involved in all aspects of running a small business. We've been through all the ups and downs in this economy alongside with all the residents of the area. So I have a strong appreciation for the challenges we face as a community. These experiences contributed to my decision to become more involved in the community when I ran and was successful in the 2019 by-election for town council. It's been a huge learning curve, but I've thoroughly enjoyed the challenges and successes we've had on council in my short term. We were successful in completing many initiatives this last term, and I look forward to continuing that work and moving the region forward as a whole if I'm elected again. For myself, moving into this election, I want the residents to know what my main platform goals would be. My first priority would be work together as a cohesive team with the other 6 members that form town council and the mayor of Rocky Mountain House. We need to have a council with the same vision to work together for the best outcome of the entire region. I'll do my best to work with our neighboring municipalities, as well as at the provincial and federal level. But with that said, I will always side with what is best for the residents of Rocky Mountain House. We're accountable to our ratepayers, and they need to know that we're being fiscally responsible with their tax dollars. As well, our small businesses are the heartbeat of the region. I'll continue to support them and be their voice. We need to continue to think creatively and give the businesses the proper tools to adjust to the current economic situations. As well, we need to have a system in place to support our homeless and most vulnerable population. That means we need to continue to pressure the provincial and federal levels for the financial support we need to be able to offer that support to everyone. I'll be a strong voice of reason, and I'll advocate in the best interest of all our residents. I'll negotiate in good faith and push for full transparency as much as allowably possible. It's my belief that the residents of this region should be able to be educated on the whys of the outcomes, not just the outcome. Our residents have the right as taxpayers to know why decisions have been made with different agreements between the town and our municipal partners. Again, thank you everybody for coming out tonight. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Next, we will call on Shane Boniface, and just a note to Marley that she will be next after Shane. Go ahead, please, Shane.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson, and welcome fellow candidates. The fact that we have 11 candidates running for 6 positions shows a keen interest in local civic duties, as well as a growing concerns within our community. I'm Shane Boniface. I've lived in Rocky for 44 years, met my wife here, married, raised a family of 6 children. I've been part of several community groups over the years and like to think that a broad range of experience brings something different to the table. I own and operate Shanice Enterprises, a small landscaping and carpentry contracting company, and currently have 3 employees. I've long had an interest in politics and believe now is the correct time in my life to be more involved in my community as we can navigate towards our future. I believe our current administration has been doing a very good job in a thankless in nature kind of job as it is. During multiple tough times with lower oil prices and pandemics, they've done very well. But I also have concerns about things that I see happening within our community. And short of answers, I feel that it is my duty to add my name to the list of candidates, possibly bringing that different viewpoint to the table. I certainly don't have all the answers, likely more questions, but I am driven to find solutions to problems. I thank you for your consideration, and no matter who you vote for in this upcoming election, I strongly urge you to vote. It is truly one of our greatest freedoms. I thank you.
Thank you, Shane. Next, we'll have Marley speak with her opening statement, please. And just a note to Faith that you will be after Marley. Thank you. Go ahead, Marley.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you to the Chamber for hosting this forum. I thought I would start with a brief introduction about myself. My name is Marley Caprero, and I moved to Rocky Mountain House in July 2004. My spouse and I love Rocky and the surrounding area and have chosen to raise our 3 children here. I am a realtor here in Rocky and have been in this career for almost 12 years now. Through real estate, I have developed strong skill sets in negotiations, problem solving, thinking outside the box, and I also have a great work ethic. I work hard and I love helping people. I have decided to run for a position on town council because I feel passionate about promoting our town and I want to be a part of its continued growth and prosperity. I feel it is important to keep our town moving forward to create sustainability and ensure Rocky is a place where families and the senior population feel they can move to and have access to everything they need and want. Some of the priorities I will focus on if elected to town council will be to help figure out ways in which we can promote economic growth. Bringing new business in is incredibly important. New business means new jobs, which will have a positive impact on our community. Development also needs to be addressed. Infrastructure is costly but needed. I feel the town could benefit by investing in itself to help developers with the huge costs associated with putting in infrastructure and developing. Let's find ways to create incentives that could make developing in Rocky feel like a smart financial move for developers, and the town would benefit from the new tax base it would create. I want to ensure the relationship between the county and the town is in good standing. We will all benefit from working together rather than against one another. I don't feel there is any reason to make things difficult for one another. We need each other's support, especially after the last 18 months being in this pandemic. Fiscal responsibility is another key priority. Budgeting and making sure the town's operating expenses are always covered is important, and also identifying ways of cost savings. By saving money where we can allocate those extra funds to other areas where it could be lacking. For our current residents and business owners, I know the last 18 months have been incredibly tough navigating through this pandemic. It's important for you to feel like the town of Rocky has your back and wants to support you. I want you to know that I plan to have an open door policy. I want to hear from you, your concerns, what changes you'd like to see, any positive feedback you have. Your thoughts and feelings are important. After all, it's our residents who we will be working hard for and representing. Thank you.
Thank you, Marley. Faith, please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. So first, I'd just like to say thank you to the Chamber for hosting. And I'm really looking forward to hearing from all the candidates, just like everybody who's attending. But to introduce myself, my name is Faith Chamberlain. I moved to Rocky when I was in junior high school, and I have lived here ever since. I've been married for 26 years, and I have 3 grown children. Over the years, I've been active in the community in many ways, volunteering for school and band trips and functions, coaching and volunteering for the Rocky Barracuda Swim Club, as well as volunteering for both Victim Services and the Mountain Rose Women's Shelter. In 2018, I opened Hit It Fitness and Nutrition. It's an all-group fitness facility where we encourage both physical health and mental well-being within our community. And we also try to stay involved in the community through sponsorships and donations to local sporting events and tournaments. I decided to run for town council because I hope with my experiences and my passion for our community, I can be an asset to the residents as well as the council. The platforms that I'm running on are as follows. Number 1 is growth. Having lived here nearly my entire life, I've witnessed tremendous growth in nearby communities. Growth that hasn't been equaled in Rocky. If elected, I would like to encourage council to take initiative to promote growth through infrastructure, recreation, and more business in hopes of not only attracting young growing families, but keeping them here long term. Fiscal accountability and transparency. When speaking to other residents in town, I just feel like this is something that everybody wants to see. So I would seek options to cut out needless spending and try to direct funds towards projects that will initiate economic growth and allow residents to hopefully eventually keep more money in their own pockets. And lastly, maintaining relationships. We're the largest town in Clearwater County, and I believe that it's imperative that we have a mutually respectful relationship with each other. And I will commit to coming to the table and not walking away until compromise can be made with the county and other neighboring communities. So other than that, I'm not a politician and I have very little political experience, I guess. But if given the opportunity, I would definitely like to represent Rocky and its residents, and I would definitely listen to the residents and keep their interests at the forefront of all my actions. If elected, I would also respect my position on the town council and would represent the town with passion, vigor, and professionalism. at all times. Thank you.
Thank you, Faith. Maren, if you could go next, and just a note to Tina that she'll be up after Maren. Maren, if we could hear your thoughts, please.
Wonderful. So good evening, everyone. My name is Maren Fraser, and when I ran for town council last election, I ran because I wanted to help my community move forward. And over the last 4 years, I have learned so much about all of the pieces and all of the people that go in to doing that. Our relationships with our business communities, developers, our citizens, as well as our connection to provincial and federal governments and their policies, and how those affect what we can do at the municipal level. The changing face of community dialogue and engagement mixed with a pandemic has really changed my perspective on what moving forward means. I know that the last few years have not been what anybody predicted. I know it certainly wasn't what I predicted when I ran for council last time. It has been a frustrating pandemic, personally and professionally. But despite these challenges, we have managed to accomplish so much together. We finished projects, found efficiencies, streamlined processes, increased transparency, and improved services for our residents. We completed 54th Street, connected Creekside to downtown, and ensured public safety by adding a second entrance. We built the spray park, finally, thank goodness, and covered the bleachers at the NSRP. We hosted the Masters games, and over the last few months have diverted thousands of tons of organic waste and prevented it from ending up in the landfill, saving money and adding more sustainability to our operations. As a community, we have accomplished so much together. I was very excited to work with the businesses and the public when we updated our municipal development plan and land use bylaw and modernized our development process to remove red tape and make it easier for developers and individuals. It was important for me personally to work on diversity initiatives that help foster a sense of belonging and inclusion for every member of our community. Like so many things, however, it is not enough to stand still. We need to continue moving our community ahead, focusing on evidence-based best practice and nonpartisan consensus. A municipal council is different from any other level of government in Canada in that there are no parties, there are no platforms. Each member on council, including the mayor, has one vote. So the key to good, stable policy is discussion and consensus. I can assure you that I will approach each issue with the long-term benefits of our community at heart and share. Oh, sorry. No, that's great. I can move it to the closer for sure. I had you minimized.
All right. Thank you, Maren, very much. And I apologize, I said Tina, but it's actually Ralph's turn next. Ralph, are you prepared, or would you like Tina to go first?
Tina can go first, please.
Okay, Tina, and then Ralph, my apologies. I realized after that even though some of the names were in alphabetical order, not all of them were.
Whoops. I don't know what I just did. How do I get you back on big screen, Michelle?
If you go up to your top and it says view.
No, I totally.
Right beside
All I've got is
participants.
you in a little corner. Well, I'll figure it out after.
Okay.
All right, I'd like to say hello to everybody, and I want to start by thanking the Chamber for hosting this event and to all the candidates for putting their names forward for Town Council. My name is Tina Hutchinson, and my spouse.
Tina, you're on mute.
Sound is gone.
Oh,
There you are.
there, I found everybody again. All right. Did you catch anything I said?
Yep.
Okay, I want to start by thanking the Chamber for hosting this event and to thank all the candidates for putting their names forward for Town Council. My name is Tina Hutchinson, and my spouse and I have made Rocky our home for 16 years. We've been operating a pipeline and construction supervision company together for 25 years. I have started and co-owned 2 additional companies in town in diverse economic areas, which has given me a wide range of experience in business plan development, accounting, human resources, customer service, time and team management, and marketing. I served on the board of directors for the 2019 Alberta Master Games from early 2017 to present. It was one of the most fulfilling projects I've ever worked on. As one of the board of directors, I was in part responsible for the overall planning, execution, and timing of the games and the related events within the framework of the ASC guidelines, goals, and objectives. I was involved in the coordination of the planning with the ASC, provincial sports associations, our local municipalities and sponsors, the overall games budget, all major incomes, expenditures, and cash flow. One of the biggest challenges we are facing right now is our economy. Vacant buildings in our downtown and industrial area are a problem that needs attention immediately. As a small business owner myself, I understand what business owners are dealing with and can relate to the hurdles they are facing. I feel strongly that more emphasis needs to be put on economic development. It is the driving force to job creation, industry diversification, business retention and expansion, increasing tax revenue, and improving quality of life. We need to focus on building strong business partnerships to move towards strengthening business competitiveness and improve municipal accountability, which will help us all to move in the right direction for economic recovery and long-term prosperity. I'm prepared to take on the challenges that I will face as a council member, and in preparation, I've been watching council meetings, reading the agendas and minutes, and reviewing policies and bylaws. I am committed to be a strong voice for our community and will work to the best of my ability to ensure that I will not disappoint. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Ralph, getting back into order, may we hear your thoughts next, please?
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you for having me, and I look forward to work with most of you in the near future. My profile, it's very simple. My wife Francisca and I have been residents of the beautiful town of Rocky Mountain House since 2016. I'm a technical forestry professional with extensive life skills and thorough knowledge in all aspects of landscaping. I mentioned that before or earlier in another statement. I'm more or less a blue-collar candidate, and I offer open world view and sound experience from extensive education and training. I also served in the military and had the opportunity to converse and work with a wide range of people from different walks in life. In addition, I bring 30 years of management experience, both as an employee and entrepreneur, specialized in forestry and residential landscaping. My background has proven me with solid knowledge of parks and recreation, planning, development, construction, health and safety, and ecotourism. I used to be employee of the town of Rocky Mountain House as parks operator too. And I spent 4.5 years gaining experience and sound understanding of the town's operations. I'm an open-minded person. I'm willing to learn and adapt to new challenges, and I'm not afraid to seek help when necessary. I consider my strength to be my integrity, honesty, transparency, and humility. The town and Rocky Mountain House and Clearwater County clearly offer opportunities for tourism, various outdoor activities, and I believe I can contribute to the promotion of both the town and the county. Tourism seems to be something for the future. Well, currently it's working great, but we can do better. I believe in promoting clean energy, technology, farming, and forestry. So actually all the things you got out here in Rocky. I'm also a great outdoor enthusiast. I enjoy everything nature-based or what nature has to offer year-round. My vision for the town of Rocky Mountain House is to create job opportunities for all our residents with emphasis on future generations. Like I noticed, like for young fellers, it's really hard to find a suitable job if there is anything available. People need to gain on life experience. They need to make a good living locally. And
That's 3 minutes.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
You're tough.
Thank you, Ralph. Thank you, Roxanne. Barry, can we hear your thoughts of your opening statement next? And it'll be followed by Michelle. Please go ahead.
Well, hello, everybody. How's everybody tonight? I too would like to thank the Chamber for hosting this, and also like to thank all the candidates that have put their names forward. It's good to see that the town, no matter which way we go on election day, I think we're going to be in good hands. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Barry McQueen. I've lived here since 2004. Since we moved to Rocky at that time, I've been very involved in the community, mostly on a service level. I think when we moved here, my wife and I, my wife Wanda, our children followed us here, our grandchildren are here, our great-grandson. But one of the things that I was so impressed with Rocky Mountain House was how vibrant the town was and how much was going, but there was something missing. I joined the Lions Club when I first moved to town, and we did lots of different service work with, you know, the derby and the rodeos and all that kind of stuff. But I was a Kinsman at heart, so back in the early days, we rechartered the Kinsman Club in Rocky. And I've been a proud member of Kin for 37 years. I'm a past national president. I'm a life member. Also, one of the big highlights of my Kin career was rechartering the Connect Club back a few years ago. Also a very vibrant organization that's doing a lot of good things in the community. I have a variety of business backgrounds. Currently, I am the business manager at Rainbow Ford. I have a background in insurance, real estate, hospitality. So I have a wealth of different things that I can bring to the table. Currently, also, I'm the chairman of the board for West Country Family Services. I've been in that position for 5 or 6 years. I'm the chairman of the board for Ignite for Rocky Mountain House in Clearwater County. I've done a lot of different things at the service level. I've also campaigned strongly for different candidates, some of which that are current members on our council. But, you know, the thing that has got me to this position, I've been thinking about it for a long time now, is that, you know, we can talk about it, but I want to be on that other side and be a person who's actually committed to doing something for our town. In the past, I have ran $1 million projects for different things that we've done in different communities where we've lived. And, you know, to me, it's all about business. If we can bring the business here, I think we're going to see that our tax base, that's what's going to enhance the tax base for Rocky Mountain House. We have to diversify our economy however we can. Some of my political strengths, I guess, are my communication skills, but also I have the ear of a lot of provincial leaders. And I think that, you know, that's what I want to do on council, is be the voice of reason. I also want to step up and speak out for our seniors. I know that they're the ones that come out and they do vote a lot, but do we really hear them? I don't know if we do. So I want to be that voice as well.
That's 3 minutes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Barry. Michelle, if we could move on to yourself now, please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. I first just think that we should start off by recognizing that we are gathered on Treaty 6 territory and take time to honor those who walk these lands before us. I'd like to thank everybody who is here today and taking their time to hear what we have to say. When I originally ran, first in a by-election and then successfully in the last general election, my only goal was to be part of moving our community forward. That's all it was. I really didn't understand the job. I just knew I wanted to be at that table. I had fallen in love with Rocky Mountain House and prided myself on being an active, committed community builder. And a decade later, I still do that. After 4 years on council, I'm truly humbled by the job, but really beyond measure and all it entails. I truly didn't know what I didn't know. I don't feel as though my work is done. This council has tackled so much, and I'm incredibly proud of what we have been able to achieve in 4 of the craziest years, probably on record. I'm committed to furthering our efforts to build a strong reputation for our community as a leader in diversity and inclusion, and as well as environmental sustainability. These values and initiatives attract industry, and especially give resource-based industries assurance that when they do business in Rocky Mountain House, their values are intact. There are few things more important these days than social license and good relationships in doing businesses in communities. I'm also very much looking forward to continuing the momentum of various community-based partner projects that invite tourism, new business, and encourage people to make their homes in our great community. We need progressive thinkers that can dig into the complicated and social long-term economic impacts of each decision that is presented around the council table. Good leadership means exercising both humility and compassion for those you serve, not just those we personally reflect. As well, we need to be able to understand how our policies and decisions look to the outside world. Councillors must look beyond themselves and beyond their borders in order to make good choices. This is how we build communities, with consideration for all stakeholders, even the ones we haven't identified yet. For example, when this council led the way in banning conversion therapy, we made national news with the initiative as a forward-thinking, progressive community that is open to all. These are the kinds of things that get us on the radar for future potential residents and investors. While I don't have a platform, it's not necessarily appropriate in municipal politics, I will say that it's always been my goal to make the best decisions for both present and future ratepayers. And this means not being satisfied until I'm certain I have all the answers to the questions that I have. Each decision of council must stand on its own and not have any personal or political lines. Council members, thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Thanks, Roxanne. We're going to move on now to Len Phillips. Len, would you care to share your opening statements with us, please?
Thank you, Michelle. First of all, thank you for the Chamber of Commerce for putting on this forum. Thank you for everyone that's come on to view this. It's great to see the participation from the town people of Rocky and area and the interest in politics. And thank you to the fellow candidates. Thank you for putting your names in. Thank you for stepping up to the plate and trying to make Rocky a better community for all of us. I've lived in Rocky now for the last 24 years. I was here back in the late 80s as well. I'm blessed to have a loving wife that supports me in all my endeavors. I have 3 kids and 5 grandkids. And I had an opportunity, I was managing Zeller stores for many, many years. And I had an opportunity to open up my own business. And one of the areas I could open up a store in was Rocky Mountain House. And I had been here in the late 80s managing the Zeller store here. And when the opportunity came for Rocky, there was no second choice. My choice was to come to Rocky Mountain House because I lived here before, I knew the community, loved the community, and wanted to come back to it and participate in it again. So that's how I got back here again with my own small business. And through that small business, I learned a lot of management skills and how to run a small business. And I learned a lot of management skills running a large corporation with 200 plus employees. So I've got extensive business background under my belt. And currently right now I'm a real estate agent in Rocky, which means I spend a lot of time in Rocky and Clearwater County. So I get a lot of opportunities to speak to individuals from Rocky and Clearwater County and hear what their needs and desires are. And it's good to have that background to bring to the table. I love to serve. I've been a past Kinsman president, 2-term president. I've been a past president of the Chamber of Commerce, again, 2 terms of the Chamber of Commerce. I'm the current president of the Over 30 Hockey League, and I play in that league. In non-COVID times we play. And I'm just so happy to be part of this community. Experience matters. The last 4 years on council have been a very, very good experience, challenging, especially with COVID. We've spent a lot of time cleaning up some old agreements, things like waste and fire. And unfortunately, in doing that, some of our relations with the county have suffered because of that. And that's something that obviously needs to be worked on for the next council, which we're hoping to be part of. We need to create better working relationship between the town and county. Rocky's the hub of Clearwater County, and we need to have everybody working together in the same direction on the same page. Tourism is very important. We need to have very strong economic development. I am done. Thank you.
Roxanne, it's no wonder you make such delicious cookies. You're very good with the spatula stuff. Okay. All right, thank you, Len. This time we're gonna go to Glenn Wasquich. Glenn, am I saying that anywhere near right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, excellent. If you could give your opening statement, please.
Well, all I could say is thanks for hosting this. I was pretty hesitant at first because I don't like showing my ugly mug in public too much, but most people in Rocky know me. I've been here since '75. I left home at an early age. This is where I met my wife out west by Bighorn. And we've been together 4 to 5 years. We got 6 children. And probably with the number of grandchildren we have, we could probably populate half of Rocky now. But I've seen Rocky in its glory years. It was small, but it was always bustling, a main street. And one of the things, the reason I'm running is I like to see Rocky come back up in the Main Street area. It's pretty dead. And there's a lot of investment we can search for from people in around the surrounding community of Rocky. Because I know our neighbors to the north, they've made a lot of investments in Red Deer and kind of bypassed Rocky. We need to get Rocky up and going again. There's a lot of relationships that need to be worked on. Policies, I can't say too much about them unless I actually go looking and searching. And I've also been the past president for a number of years for the Rocky Native Friendship Center, known as Asigwawin at this time, which is Bridge. I'm also sitting president at the moment with my term coming up soon. I don't really have any organizational skills other than organizing sports events in the past. I've been a program coordinator for NATE for a while, and then now I have training programs, which at present, I'm an accredited ABSD instructor, which is an Alberta Basic Security Trainer Instructor. Been doing that for about 6-7 years. And I'm always looking for ways to advance communities or people. And that's about all I can say. So if anybody has questions, I might be able to answer them. If not, a lot of individuals that have spoken here already, I've already brought up a lot of stuff I've thought about. Shane and I have a lot in common with what he was talking about. It was amazing. So thank you. Next.
Okay, thank you, Glenn, very much. So as you might have noticed here, what I've done is anyone who's not talking, I have muted them. So I will ask the candidates stay muted until it's their turn to talk. And of course, there's going to be a little bit of, working it out and so on as to who needs to mute. And we've all been there as we're talking and realize that no one can hear us at all, but we're talking silently to ourselves. So we're going to move into question and period answer at this time. And just so you all know, we have more than 3 pages of questions that were submitted for tonight's forum. So we're obviously not going to be able to get through all of them. What we can do is send the questions that we are not able to get through tonight to the candidates, and then we can share answers if people would like to have those answers sent to them, we could. And what I would ask is anyone that would like to have those questions and answers sent to you, please send myself an email at michelle@rockychamber.org, and we will put a list together of who was on the call and how to get those answers to you. So, like I said, 4 pages or 3+. So we'll get right into it, and we are going to start with group number 1. So that is going to be Dave, Maren, Tina, and Glenn. And the first question we will pose to you is, what is the most important to you to either change or enhance in our community? Dave, I'll have you start this one off, please.
One of my most important has been right from when I joined the first time would be economic development, trying to attract business, trying to retain business. We've done a really good job with all the hurdles we've had in the last couple of years, trying to attract business. And that's one of the things we need to really focus on moving forward, would be to put that economic development number 1. Without that, that's where all our tax base comes from. That's where our rec comes from. Nothing happens without having that economic development. So that is number 1. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Maren, same question to you, please.
It was one of my policy points in the last election, and I think it's still important, and that is communication. I hear a lot about transparency, and I think there is a lot of transparency built into the processes of the MGA, built into what we've done to bring things online and to bring things forward. But I always think that there's another step further we can go, and it might be the teacher in me, but I feel that when people understand the decision, when people feel heard and think that they can see the whole picture, and I understand that's not always possible with confidentiality, but I think continually moving forward in new and different ways to improve communication with the public will go a long way to help building that bridge of trust between the citizens and council.
All right, Maren, thank you very much. Tina, your turn, please.
Can you repeat the question, please, Michelle?
Absolutely. Just 1 second here. What is the most important thing to you to either change or enhance in our community?
Well, I think I have to agree with Dave on that economic development is probably the strongest area that we need to focus on. It's just a circle of, you know, I've been hearing complaints, people talking about our taxes are too high. Well, we can't do anything about the taxes unless we bring in new business, unless we expand on the opportunities that could be available to the community. But I think the biggest factor of all of that is developing a very, very strong economic development plan and implementing it.
All right, thank you very much, Tina. Glenn, can we hear your thoughts on this question, please?
Most certainly. I guess what I mentioned earlier, with businesses shutting down in Rocky, especially Main Street, I'd like to see more investment, outside investment coming in, setting up shop. I know with the twinning of 11 coming to Rocky, we got to be prepared for that. We don't want it going around us. Reason being, if you, most of you probably know Manville on 16. They've kind of fell off the wayside. I want to see Rocky like that. I'd like to bring in more relationships with the neighbors to the north and to the west, and the surrounding area of Clearwater County. Basically, I want to go back to the time of history. Rocky was founded by the trading with the locals. And by attracting them to come back to Rocky and working with the citizens of Rocky, we might be able to advance and move on, maybe rebuild Rocky to a certain state of well-being. And that's about all I can say on that one. Just you need to go take me to school here, guys. I'm a backwoods boy. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. I am getting a suggestion to ask anyone who is not a candidate, not including yourself, Roxanne, to please turn off your videos and such. I'm told that it's going to help with connectivity for audio. If I can ask that of everyone, please. If you're not a candidate, if you could please turn off your video. All right, we are going to go to our next question. And this one is going to be on street drugs. And the question is going to go to Barry, Len, Michelle, and Faith. And the question is, drugs are prevalent in Rocky Mountain House. What are some new solution-focused programs that you will implement to address the issue? Barry, can we have you start with that one, please? Oh, Barry, you're on mute.
I forgot you muted me.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I started to say, I'm not sure if I have thought of initiatives that I could bring forward, but I certainly think that there has to be an open dialogue with not only our provincial police, but our municipal police as well on what initiatives are currently working, which ones are not working. We need to find that, and I agree that there is a problem, but as far as having the answers, I won't have the answers until I get to meet with the active participants in trying to solve this. So I think that's all I would really say on that, is that we need to just keep the dialogue open with our policing partners and work to solve the problem.
Okay, thank you very much, Barry. Len, same question to you, please.
Thanks, Michelle. So drugs isn't something that we're going to arrest our way out of. It's not a solution that comes from policing. It's more of a solution that comes from social. This is something that we have to help people that have either mental health issues or backgrounds where drug proliferation can come into effect in their livelihood. So it's a matter of going and looking what the effects are that are making people go to drugs in the first place. That's our first step. When it comes to a policing point of view, I've been fortunate to sit on the policing committee for the last little while in Rocky, and the officers need more training. They're trained in arresting people, and they do a very good job of it. They're not trained, again, in the mental health issue that goes along with this. And I do believe that there's more of a mental health problem. There's more of a social problem that goes along with this than just trying to arrest our way out of a drug problem.
Excellent. Thank you, Len. Michelle, your thoughts on this question, please?
Hi, yeah, sorry. As far as municipal initiatives, I do appreciate the question, and I appreciate the impact of street drugs on communities and families. We did recently meet with the health minister following the tragic event of Sunny Strawberry trying to access ambulance care. So we did get a chance to join our partners in Sunchild and Ochis and the health minister at the time and our local minister. And there was strong advocacy for bringing acute treatment beds to Rocky Mountain House. Our council has met a number of times with the Grandmother Turtle Lodge group. I think this council is really putting some miles into fighting this epidemic in our community that's killing our children and stealing parents. So it's definitely something that is important to us and to me.
Thank you, Michelle. Faith, can we hear your thoughts on this question, please? I'll have you unmute.
Sure. So I guess I kind of agree with everybody. I agree with Barry in that until I'm boots on the ground, I don't really know what initiative I could take until I have a clear understanding of what I'm able to do on a municipal government level. I agree with Len in that we're not going to arrest our way out of this. But on the flip side, I do think there is an opportunity to arrest some of the supply of the drugs that do come into our town. There's definitely mental health issues, and like Michelle mentioned, we care facility, acute beds in the hospital that could look after some of these problems would definitely be a help. But yeah, so I guess, like I say, until I really know what I could do to influence or initiate anything, that's all I can say, I guess.
Okay, thank you very much, Faith. The next question we have is going to go to group 3. So that's going to be Shane, Marley, and Ralph. And the question is, a big focus is always on shopping local and supporting local. And with most businesses, especially small businesses, struggling during COVID, I would like to know if you used a Rocky Mountain House business to make your signage. And just a note, this is not coming from a signage company. It is coming from an individual person. They have asked in this question if you would please name who did do the work if they were local. We're not going to ask that. If you'd like to choose to say who did the work, yes, please. But again, the question is if you had your election signage made locally. And Shane, we are going to start with you, please, if you could unmute.
Yes, I did actually have my signage made locally, and I will gladly say who made it myself, actually. My wife and I own a vinyl cutting machine, and we made our own signs to be economically feasible to be part of this election. And but I do support local businesses with my own business and shop pretty much strictly in Rocky at all times. Thank you.
Thank you, Shane. Marley, same question to you, please.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I did get all my election signage done locally in town with Trimline. I also use them quite a bit whenever I am needing anything for real estate in terms of signage. I think it's incredibly important to shop local, especially the last 18 months hasn't helped any business in town. So when we can, we absolutely should be utilizing the services that we have here in Rocky. Yeah, so I do try to shop in Rocky as much as I can and support local business. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Marley. Ralph, your thoughts?
Okay, thank you for the great question. Yeah, shopping locally is one of the core things we all got to follow. Myself, I had my signs made in Rocky as well with Skyline. I had a great service. Can't complain, absolutely not. Like, great value. And other businesses, or when I go around and talk to people and you approach them about, are you shopping locally? Most of the time what I hear is, well, it's not available or it's overpriced in Rocky, but I think that's just an excuse for not taking or putting in the effort to go around and look what's available. And I think Rocky has a lot of great opportunities to shop, and why would you go somewhere else? Like, I mean, Rocky is such a great town, and I think we could enhance shopping or the different products we are still not able to get in Rocky. Like, Rocky is a good place to shop.
Okay, thank you, Ralph. We're going to go on to the next question now, and that's going to go to Dave, Marin, Tina, and Glenn. And Marin, in an effort to not always start with the same, what we'll do is we'll start with yourself, then Tina, Glenn, and Dave will be answering last on this one, please. And the question is, how would you work together with your neighboring municipality to make the greatest positive impact to the residents and your government's financial position? Maren, I'll hand that over to you, please.
I'm excited to answer this question because I think there might be a lot of misconceptions around how different municipalities negotiate and work together and their perspectives. And while I understand that a negotiation process where both sides have their residents that they're accountable to, and they might have different perspectives, can be, I suppose, fraught during those negotiations. It is because those members who are negotiating, those municipalities, are going to the table to get the absolute best deal for their constituents. Sometimes at these tables, it's not in the best interest of a community to just get along, to just, capitulate all the time in the interest of peace. Sometimes they do need to come to the table and represent the needs of their constituents. And that is not a negative experience. That is not a bad thing. That is a good thing to know that both the county and the town are working really hard to represent their residents. And so while that can be frustrating on a number of fronts, and while you might see friction as the public on a number of fronts, what you don't see is the hundreds of other activities and projects and initiatives that are going smoothly that you don't see or you don't hear about in the newspaper because we're moving ahead on them and the service is seamless for our residents and for theirs. So I think that there is a feeling that there is not getting along, but that's part of the process.
That would be a minute.
Okay, thank you very much, Maren. Tina, same question to you, please.
Again, let's repeat that question so I get it right.
Okay. How would you work together with your neighboring municipality to make the greatest positive impact to the residents and your government's financial position?
I think for the most part, we seem to forget the fact that the town has made the county and the county has made the town. The two have come together, and we need to remember when we're making agreements and having discussions that we wouldn't have one without the other. I think that there's been a bit of a misconception about the fighting in the sandbox, as we've heard so many times over and over again. But I would like to see some team building, some type of programming, something done so that the county council and the town council can actually work together on a positive basis, so that when they are in the room trying to hash out deals and make agreements possible, that they're real people and their hearts are coming through, as opposed to just stuck on the political platform that they're trying to discuss and to get over. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Tina. Glenn, same question to you, please.
Can you repeat it, please?
Absolutely. How would you work together with your neighboring municipality to make the greatest positive impact to the residents and your government's financial position?
I can agree a lot on the last two candidates' comments. One is a lot of communication. There must be trust built. As to how things, I guess, function within the county and the town of Rocky is something I have to learn, and quickly. I've talked to a lot of residents in town and the county. Like I said, I have a lot of friends. They each have their own different views. but we're all one people. We're on one land. So we got to be able to communicate and work together. And I can't really find the answers at the moment, but with the following council that's elected, they can probably work on that with the county. If I'm not on it, that's all right. They can carry whatever I bring forward to help them along. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Dave, your thoughts on this question, please?
Yeah, it is a complicated question, but it is a very simple question at the same time. I go into everything with a negotiation, with an open mind. But at the end of the day, we have to make the smartest decisions for our residents. We have to make the smartest fiscal decisions for our governance. There's a difference between the county and the town. The town is accountable for every dollar that goes out that door. The county has a luxury that they have a little more to spend. They get a little more tax income. They have the linear tax. They can spend a little freer than the town. So I will go into everything with an open mind, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't make financial sense for our residents, I'll go to bat. It's simple to say on the sidelines where everybody's fighting and not getting along, but that's negotiations and that's agreements. Sometimes it isn't going to work 100% for both people, and somebody's going to feel like they've lost out. But you wish that everything can come out as a win-win for both parties, but it doesn't always happen that way. Thanks.
Right. Thank you, Dave. All right, we're going to head on to the next question. I realize we've only got a few going here. We're already getting down to 15 more minutes for questions. So we're going to keep this going, and we're going to go with group 2. We're going to start with Len, then Michelle, Faith, and Barry for this one. And the question is, with the completion of 54th Street, what infrastructure project should now be the town's main focus? Len, if we could have you start, thank you.
So that's a really good question. What should we look at next? And one of the biggest things we have to look at in Rocky is we are, in essence, landlocked. The surrounding areas are owned by private landowners. So we either have to work cooperatively with these landowners to develop either new industrial, new residential, new commercial, or the town has to look within its own land that we own and see what we have to do. So that's going to be a very big question for the next council, is where do these opportunities lie? Where are the low-hanging fruit? Which ones make the best sense to implement? It's going to be a tough thing because, again, like I said, we are landlocked and we're relying a lot on the other landowners to be able to implement some progress. And that's something that we have to work with our Tourism and Economic Development Department. And that's something that we need to work with also with the county Tourism and Economic Development, because sometimes things work better in a county situation. Sometimes they work better in a town situation. So if we have better communication there, we can make better decisions on where we can go. One thing I would like to see is we have a beautiful river structure down where we have the boat launch down by the water treatment plant. I would like to see something more go on down there. We had have some initial discussions on what could potentially go down there, but I think that is an underutilized part of our town. It's a beautiful river setting, and we could develop more down there, along with the North Saskatchewan River Park. That's a very underutilized facility, and I'd like to see events going on year-round, spring, summer, fall, and winter.
Thank you, Len. We're going to pose that question to Michelle next, then Faith and Barry, and Dave is going to answer that question as well with one of his wild cards. All right, okay. Michelle?
Yep. Hi, thank you. Thank you for the question. One of our earliest tasks on council was to develop our capital asset plan and our 10-year capital plan and our asset management plan. So that's really what guides council as far as what infrastructure is coming down the road. I don't know, maybe 2 new councils might want to reopen the JDA. That might be something that's worth looking at. This council didn't really get much of an opportunity to do that. We never even had a conversation about it, I don't think. So that might be a document, the joint development area document might be something worth revisiting.
All right, thank you very much, Michelle. Faith?
Yeah, so I would like to see something more happen at the Saskatchewan River Park as well. I know initially years ago when things moved that direction, there was a lot of talk of a campground going there, kind of to make up for the loss of the Aspen campground when the high school was built. And those plans never went anywhere. So I do think that there could be some opportunities down there that could be helpful, that could generate revenue even for the town. Yeah, so that would be where I would look, I think.
Okay, thank you, Faith. Barry, can we hear your thoughts on this question, please?
Well, you know, I listened to a couple of the current councillors and yeah, they have some foresight into what initiatives are being done or had been looked at in the past. I've been looking at the same things for a long time now. We talk about tourism coming through our town with the twinning of Highway 11, and we're hoping that that's going to bring a lot of traffic through Rocky Mountains. But all you have to do is look along the highway, and there's a couple of vacant lots that have been sitting there for I don't know how long. Len talks about being landlocked. Well, there is so many vacancies in this town. I mean, landlocked for development for housing, perhaps, but as far as for business development, there is tons of stuff available. I'd like to see a clear-cut plan from a town council that says, you know what, these lots that are sitting there, they're owned by businesses. It's time for these businesses to do something with them, either develop them or give them up or whatever needs to be done, clean them up. I don't care, but that's part of the visibility of Rocky Mountains. When you drive into our town, that's some of the first things people see are these vacancies that have been sitting for years and years and years. And I get it. I've talked to some of the councillors. I know that stuff has been done, but it's an eyesore. It needs to change. And we can fill some of these other vacancies too by approaching businesses and trying to attract business. It goes back to the economic development plan that everybody was talking about earlier. We need to really focus on that.
Okay, thank you very much, Barry. Dave, you would like to speak to this one?
Yes, please. Something very important to me and what I've been talking about since I joined council in the by-election. Number one, exactly what Barry just said. We need to get these businesses that own these lots on the Highway 11 there are picture point when you come into town and they are underdeveloped, they're fenced up, they need to be developed, period. We have to have it attractive coming into this town, have people want to come here and want to set up shop. The second one, my other key point was the North Saskatchewan River Park, not necessarily the rodeo grounds, but we're one of the only residents or only municipalities that has a beautiful water scape. We're in the mountains and we do not have a park to enjoy the water. We don't have anywhere for somebody to go have a barbecue with their family down on the river. We have a beautiful area that's possibly could be developed down there. I would really, really push to have something done down there as one of our next major investments. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Dave. We're going to go on to the next question, which is going to be led by Marley, then Ralph, and Shane. And the question is, what are your thoughts on green energy? And can you provide your thoughts on what we can do here as a community to go green? Or be green, pardon me. Marley, I'll have you start us off on that one, please.
Okay, thank you for the question. I think green energy, I think that is the way that things seem to be heading. I think it is important to really try to look and see what we can do in order to get more green energy going. I am going to be completely honest. I would need to look a little bit more into it to see what kind of opportunities there are for that. I don't know a lot about it as it is, but it is definitely something I think we should explore. And I think it is important. Yeah, I would like to look into it more. And if people do have questions about that, I would love for them to reach out to me. And once I know a little bit more about it, I would be happy to answer their question.
Thank you, Marley. Ralph, your thoughts on this question, please?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I agree with Marley about it. Like, green energy is the future for us, for all of us, not just Rocky Mountain House. And I'm pretty sure there are so many options out there, and we gotta investigate, we gotta invest in that kind of green energy, and maybe we are able to pull some big investors on land if we offer a hand to create green energy around Rocky Mountain House, at the same time creating jobs, work for residents and for future generations. So green energy is the way to go.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Ralph. And I believe it is Barry McQueen who would like to use his wild card on this question to speak. Is that correct, Barry?
Yes, that's correct.
Go ahead.
Back to what we were talking about with trying to attract business to Rocky Mountain House. I had a chat with some folks the other day, and that's exactly one of the things that they talked about is that we need to attract new industry, not just a new business. We need to attract a new industry to Rocky, where the oil and gas sector maybe has dropped off a little bit. We did have the lumber. Now we have to start thinking that maybe green energy might be that source to create jobs, to bring people to our community, not just to work, but to live, to play, to, the others have already said it all, that there's so many great things around Rocky, why people wouldn't want to live here. The only reason is they just don't have a job. But if we can create that extra industry and build it around green, then I think that might be certainly a way to go. And a council certainly should be looking into that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Barry. We've got time for at least one more question here, and we are going to go over.
Do I get to answer the question? You've missed me.
Yes, I'm sorry, Shane. My apologies. Please go ahead.
I agree with Barry. The thought of bringing in industry that deals with green energy was a high priority for myself. I take a look at what Innisfail has done with their massive solar farm. Perhaps there's incentives that we could give to local businesses and residents to install solar power of some sort on their own homes. Something that could be a tax break or work with power companies, whatever it would take. But this is the way of our future. And it's hard for us to embrace it, but we do have to start looking beyond our oil and gas industry, because sooner or later it is going to change. It's going to change worldwide. If we get ahead of that, we stand to be a leader in that community. Thank you.
Thank you, Shane. Again, sorry about that. We're going to go on to the next question, which we will start with Tina, then have Glenn, Dave, and Maren answer. And the question is, how would you be transparent to your constituency and help to educate both the residents and council? Tina, I'll have you start on that one, please.
How would I be transparent and what was it?
To your constituency and help educate both residents and council.
I have talked about being the voice of the people, and I just don't want to be the voice bringing in questions from the people to the council, but I also want to be able to express and put in layman's terms the answers to a lot of the questions that they have. It seems that the communication gets lost between council, or pardon me, not just council, but the decisions the town has made in, be it paperwork, whatever else, but to have a layman's version of what is going on. I think things like the transfer station that we dealt with, if it would have been explained in a point A, B, C kind of definition to people, people wouldn't have reacted the way they did. I think things, even with our taxes, if it was explained in plain English, people would accept it a little bit better. So I want to be that voice to be able to translate the bureaucracy or whatever it may be and get a straight answer to people, and not beat around the bush kind of thing to help them find answers.
Thank you very much, Tina. Glenn, same question to you, please.
How would I be transparent? I'm a very approachable person. I could most certainly share a lot of stuff on how things progress. Just by experience working with the Friendship Center, yes, there was some stuff I could share and some I couldn't. And I don't know where the town stands there with the policies in regards to sharing information, but I don't think it's really binding. That's where education comes from, being able to share information to and from. And just the last, what Tina mentioned, the council is the voice for the people. It's not so much bringing information in from the people themselves. The council is the extension. They're the volume. They're the bullhorn for the people to search out and stuff like that. So we have to work with the people as well too, and the council. Share what you can, and that way you'll be able to educate the citizens of Rocky as to where their tax money is going. I don't pay taxes per se like they do in town, but I certainly understand how the system works. So other than that, that's about all I can share.
Thank you, Glenn. Dave, same question to you, please.
This is another great question. I could talk about it all day long. We can only be as transparent as we're allowed to be. The MGA dictates what we are allowed to disclose and what we're not allowed to disclose. Our municipal partners, they have a very large say in what we're allowed to disclose and not disclose. We get into negotiations. People aren't allowed to know what those negotiations are. They're allowed to know the outcome. They're allowed to know that here's the agreement, but they're not allowed to know how we got to that agreement. We want to be as transparent as possible with this council. We have everything live streamed. We have everything released by Laura. She does a great job in trying to keep the community updated on what's going on, but there's limitations on what we're allowed to say and what we're not allowed to say. That's one of my biggest pet peeves, and I don't know how we get around it, but until everybody, the government, partners, everybody gets on board, we're still handcuffed in what we're allowed to say. So it's one of my main goals to try and get both councils, province on board, where we're allowed to release everything to the public. Tell them this is where we started today and this is where we're at now. Till we get there, people are going to come to their own conclusions, their own decisions, right or wrong, but it's because they don't have all the information. So 100%, I am going to fight to try and change that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Marion, same question to you, please.
So I think this has two prongs for me. One is, I guess, the transparency of council and the processes there. I know that we've worked really hard. We brought in live streaming. We're working on improving the sound quality so that's easier for people to view. We found that people were having a hard time with the council minutes and the agenda. And so we introduced council highlights, which put a lot of those large, complicated decisions into layman's terms and provided links to the specific parts, so they didn't need to watch the whole 3.5 hours of council or start looking for things. We're the first council to have monthly written reports every month on all of the events that we attend and what we're doing. And we also are the first council to have a communications coordinator whose sole job is to collect the information and listen to where people are struggling and to create content and information that is packaged for the public consumption, so that the decisions that are being made at the council table are communicated with the public in an official channel. Now, unofficially, personally, I have spent a good deal of my time on social media doing my best to address any of the concerns, any of the misconceptions, trying to even just have my ear to the ground and see what are people thinking about a certain decision, or what are people hearing about a certain decision that might not be what was really going on. And for me, that is the key to transparency, that I am out there and I am giving all of the information I know how to give. And I understand that not everybody is going to agree with the decision I made or how I made that decision. But I can provide the data and I can provide the process. And once again, I think that helps us build trust.
Thank you, Maren. Right, so we've had one group have more questions than others, so we are going to throw in 2 more questions here. And we're going to go to group 2, and I believe we're going to be starting with Michelle on this one, and then we'll go Faith, Barry, and Len. And the question is, would you prefer to see taxes raised to pay for subservices, or would you prefer to see services cut over raising taxes? Michelle, on to you for your thoughts, please.
Would I rather see taxes raised to pay for services or cut to do what? Sorry? Can you repeat
I
the question?
believe it should read pay to increase some services or see service decrease and instead of having taxes increase.
Okay.
Sorry.
I think I'll just answer it a different way. Nobody wants to pay more money. Nobody wants less services. So my answer to this question is we need to take good, hard, long looks at our services each and every year, like we have been doing for 3 years, to ensure that we are getting the best bang for our buck. And so far that's resulted in 3 years of 0% tax increases. So the question of what are we balancing? Do we want to pay more here? You know, that comes out in those types of conversations. It's a 2-day lockdown and we go through every single bit of our budget with a fine-tooth comb. So it's a bit of a difficult question to be super specific about, but what I will say is that I just would like my municipal government to be making those well-balanced decisions. And I think that we should elect people that we know can do that and understand that.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. Faith, your thoughts on this one, please?
Yeah, that's kind of a catch-22 question. No, again, like Michelle said, nobody wants to pay more or receive less. So I think you have to look again at things on a more individual level to make it balance out. Everything has to kind of be approached one at a time. What service are we cutting to save taxes? What taxes are we raising to increase which service? So I guess I can't really give you an answer of if I would rather cut taxes or increase taxes, because it would depend on what the services were that we were going to lose when we were having that conversation.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Faith. Barry, same question to you, please.
Yeah, services versus taxes. I agree with Michelle on this one as well, that, you know what, everybody wants more for less. And and there's a fine balancing act to try to do that. I think that it's incumbent upon every town council or municipal government that they do that each and every year, that they sit down and review what services they're providing, and do they meet the bang for the buck, as Michelle has said, for their constituents. And I don't know that I can sit here and clearly say that we're not doing that, but we've got to find services that people might not feel bad about paying for. But then again, we do have to make cuts somewhere else if we're going to include those, because the long and the short of it is people are not going to want to see their taxes go up. If anything, they're going to want to see their taxes go down and more services included. So there's a balancing act to get to that, but I think there is a way to do it.
Okay, thank you very much, Barry. Len, same question to you, please.
So this is the age-old question, taxes versus services. So in the service level retreat that we go and is done every year, this is the exact question that's asked, and it's played out in real time. So is a service something that we have to do? Is it mandated by the Municipal Government Act? Then we have to provide it. Is it provided at a level 1 service or a level 4 service? If it's a level 4 by the MGA, that's what it gets. If it's something that we have an ability to look at and adapt and change, and maybe our service level is a 4 and it needs to be a 3 here, and maybe we go and look at the next set of services and maybe we're a 3 and we need to be a 4. So it's a balancing act between where does the money get spent, where's the priorities, where is it going to best benefit the town. And that's how these 0% tax increases for the last 3 years have been realized, is by looking at the overall budget and saying we can spend less here, more here. It's a balancing act. We found some efficiencies, and it's been a great process. So yeah, if there's a reason to spend money on something, yes. If there's a reason not to spend money on something, yes as well. I'm a ratepayer. I don't want to pay any more taxes. That's the way I see it.
All right, thank you, Len. And we started with Michelle, so we're done with that question. We're going to move on to group number 3 again. And Ralph, we're going to have you start this one off, please. And this will be the last question of the night until we go into closing remarks. And the question is, what are your thoughts with respects to tourism and supporting events or activities over and above what we have done in the past? Ralph?
Yeah, thank you. I believe there are a lot more opportunities in tourism than we think. I mean, let me explain that a bit. My background, European born, Switzerland, coming from a small place where tourism is a big thing, and the community, the municipality had to come together and create programs for people to attract people, to bring people into town. I mean, having the foothills or the western area with Ram Falls, Nordic, whatever, like there are tons of opportunities out there. And I think we should work harder on municipal level to make it attractive internationally. So like creating hope pages in all languages, in French, German, Italian, whatever, the people who could come here and enjoy the great Rocky Mountains, the outdoors. I mean, if I post pictures from my adventures out west, everybody says like, you live in God's country. And I think there should be much more done than what we actually do. And this would be another great segment, another way to earn money, to create jobs, to get this town going. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ralph. Shane, same question to you, please.
The points made earlier about driving into our town with the empty lots and the empty buildings on Main Street are probably one of our biggest problems that I ever get from anybody that I invite to my community. Until we start filling these things and making it our town someplace people actually want to come in the first place, we're going to have to work very hard at tourism. There's other ideas out there that other groups have put forward, not to this council, these are years ago. Other things that can be done within our community that would draw tourism in. In Edmonton, they have the Fringe during the summer, lasts for a few days. They bring in theater groups, they do open air stuff. We have our market on Main. I think we get a lot of people in with that. But we definitely have to start thinking about filling the areas we have, getting things going. If we can bring in more infrastructure, more businesses, I think the tourists will come with that, and also accept ideas from residents and county people on what kind of businesses they want to run that may bring tourism right into our town. And that's my thoughts on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shane. All right, I did see a thumbs up. I thought someone else was wanting to use their wild card on this one. Tina, is that you?
Yeah, sorry, I just had a little sneezing fit while we were in the last question. Yeah, I want to speak on this because from the event perspective, as I said earlier, bringing in the Masters Games, 1,000 athletes, 600 volunteers. We had 2 nights of concerts. The building or the putting the cover over the bleachers on the North Saskatchewan River Park was kind of part and parcel of some of the things that the games brought to the town. It's an awesome facility to be able to continue on with having, you know, possibly a yearly event, maybe like a small town Big Valley Jamboree come to our area. We did work through the games on doing out some surveying and, you know, some work that needed to be done to the area. And back to, I forget who it was that said, I think it was Faith, about the plan that had been developed. Don't quote me on the year, but I think it was 10, 15 years ago, about building the facility down there, expanding on it to have the campground. We did a lot of work with the games, but I would really like to see something now that the road is being put in place, you know, in behind the, what's that store called down there? I should know.
Yes.
Anyways, we've got the structure to be able to continue on. I'd also like to see looking into tourism where we're bringing buses that are coming from Calgary, Edmonton region and doing a loop around either up towards Jasper or back towards Banff. I mean, we have the area, we have the country to be able to bring people in to enjoy like all of us do on a daily basis. So I think we really need to promote that. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Tina. At this time, we're gonna turn over to closing remarks and candidates will have 2 minutes. I'm sorry, Marley, do you have something to say?
Do I get to answer that question?
Oh, for heaven's sakes. It's been a long day, you guys. I'm sorry. Yes,
it's all good.
Please go ahead.
Well, I just want to say that everyone that talked before me answering the question had some really good ideas. We are very lucky with where we live. We live in the West Country. It's beautiful here. We have some great services here, great sites, the historic site, our museum. We have lots of wonderful things for people to come and learn about Rocky in the area. We also provide, like the truck wagons, when they come, we have hosted really amazing things in the past that I feel has brought a lot of people this way. And it's important to keep with that, making sure that people have a reason to come here and check out the area. Thankfully, we are really close to recreation, so it brings a lot of people through our town. And I think the twinning of Highway 11 will also help with getting people here. But just finding ways to keep promoting tourism will be really important. And I'm really actually looking forward to figuring out ways to doing that.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marley. Again, I apologize.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, I do want to make a note that we are only through a small fraction of the questions that have been submitted. So we've been working to try and figure out the ones that are most relevant. There were a number of questions submitted that were more directed to current counselors and looking into specifics of what's happened in the last few years, which we haven't put forward because it doesn't give a fair shake to those who are not on council right now. So we will look at the questions that are here and perhaps see if we could work out some questions going forward to get answers to. But for right now, we're going to go to the closing remarks. And Glenn, I'll ask you to start this off. Just another note that everyone has 2 minutes, and Roxanne is going to give you a 30-second and a 1-minute warning, and then she will kindly speak up when the 2 minutes are done. Glenn, the floor is yours, please.
Yes, I'll make it short and sweet. I'm scared of the spatula. But, there's a lot of good points brought forward by the candidates. I certainly took a lot in. And I was posed a question as to why I'm running or what my platform is and why they should vote for me. I'm not asking that you should vote for me. Vote for who you think is going to work for Rocky, including myself. It's a choice we all have. And in regards to tourism, there's a lot of tourism out here. There's a lot of good points brought forward. In regards to street drugs, I'll go back a little bit because of my policing background. I've seen it on both sides of the fence. Those are certainly stuff I'd like to look at a little further if elected. If not, I'd still be able to help in some shape or form. But once again, I appreciate for having me on the forum. And I appreciate to the people that text me while we were talking here. And to the people of Rocky, vote for who you think is going to advance Rocky Mountain House, make it grow. And for speaking for myself, I'm bringing forward some Indigenous perspective. I'm not going to force anything on anyone, but if asked, I will gladly share. So at that point, I close the floor to myself.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And thank you for joining us today, Glenn. Len, we're going to go to yourself next, please.
Thank you, Michelle. Just wanted to thank the Chamber for putting this on. Good luck to my fellow candidates. I'd like to see everyone get in, but unfortunately only 6 of us can. One thing I want to look at, COVID has really put a wedge in our community, has really divided our community, whether you're pro-mask or anti-mask or pro-vaccination or anti-vaccination. The town of Rocky needs some healing help. And as town council, we need good, strong leadership to provide that and get the town back going after COVID, because there's going to be an after COVID and we need to get through that. So I will provide that strong leadership. I will use the 4 years of knowledge I've had on council and the contacts and the experience that I've gained, and I will use that to benefit the town of Rocky Mountain House. With whoever gets elected out of these people, I will work well with them. I will cooperate with them, and we will get things done. And we will get things done in an efficient manner and fiscally responsible manner. Like I said before, I'm a ratepayer. I pay taxes just like everyone else in this call. I want to make sure that those tax dollars are used to the most advantage, the best way that we can see possible. I will always vote in Rocky's best interest. That is one thing you can be guaranteed, is that I have no hidden agenda. I have no party alliances. That's the one good thing about municipal government, is there is no party alliances. There's no way that we have to vote. I will vote for Rocky, pro Rocky, 100% Rocky all the time. And I will do what I can to promote the community, to make it a place where people want to play, stay, and grow. That's what I want to do for Rocky Mountain House. I love this community. I'm passionate about it, and I will do my best. Thank you.
Thank you, Len. And thank you for joining us tonight. Michelle, we'll go to yourself next, please. Michelle, you're on mute.
Well, and you just missed all my best work. So But no, I'd just like to thank everybody for being here and thank you for sharing your answers. And everybody just seems so brilliant. It's fantastic. I just have a few closing words. I'm kind of mismatched now because I have different thoughts. But I've worked with great passion, not only for Rocky Mountain House, but for our entire region, because we do depend on one another for so many things. Our relationship is absolutely symbiotic and based in mutual benefit. It always has been, and it always will be. Even throughout the negotiations, we knew that. So the perception in the community that the negotiations of these agreements that had to be done was somehow is going to have long-term negative effects on the relationship is absolutely untrue. I mean, we came out of those negotiations with a groundbreaking agreement that recognizes the relationship of dependency between the town and county using the unpaid, the tax-exempt properties that support people that live in the whole entire region. And now we have an agreement with a mathematical calculation that shows how much money we are going to be sharing and what that transfer from the county is going to be. We negotiated that powerful agreement after months of behind closed doors, intense, and there were some intense days, but we got through. We have great agreements in place now. Now we're being used as a model across Alberta as to what can happen when good people come to a table and make good agreements. Not only our town is being contacted for ideas of how to get through this, that the community services support agreement is like completely groundbreaking, even recognized by municipal affairs. So I just really want people to be clear that there is not a damaged relationship. There was people at that table that were advocating for the best possible outcomes for their ratepayers, and that's what happened. And I'm personally very proud of that entire situation. I am not happy with the lack of transparency. Sorry.
Thank you, Michelle. Thanks for joining us tonight. Barry, we're going to move to yourself for closing remarks, please.
Well, thank you again to everybody for joining us tonight and speaking your thoughts. And again, once again, for putting your names forward. Our community is going to be better for it. I have passionately served the communities in which I live as a volunteer for all of my adult life. I can't see that I wouldn't bring a great wealth of knowledge to this job. I can only see that it can only help by having me on there. I would like to touch on when we were talking about tourism. One of the things that people seem to forget, and yes, we have all these great things, but we shouldn't forget about the winter part of our community as well. We have the Parade of Lights. We have 10,000 people come into our community to witness that. We have, our campground down at Riverview. We have a gentleman down there who decorates the whole campground and gets ready for winter. And we can build on that and make this a destination for not just the summertime for the tourists, but also for the wintertime. I did want to close my remarks tonight by stating that, I didn't say it loudly enough, but I'm in this for the small businesses, what they're going through and what they have gone through for the past 18 months. We have to make sure that we've got a strong voice there for them as well, because some of them are not going to survive. I speak from experience there, but some of them need our help, and some of them not just our help, in perhaps passing bylaws or whatever, but we have to make sure that these businesses get the help that they need. And last thing, just to clarify my remarks on policing, I don't mean just the arrest aspect of it. I mean teaching our police officers how to be more compassionate and how to have the education that Len had mentioned. I think that's vital. And once again, we've got to make sure that that stuff along Highway 11 gets cleaned up. So when people do, like we have seen the last 18 months, we had so many people come through our community. Our back country was full.
That's Barry. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Roxanne. Thank you, Barry, very much for your closing remarks and for joining us tonight. Tina, we'll move on to your closing remarks, please.
All right. Well, I just wanted to say that working together is a key element to aid in the growth of our community. Whether it's economic development, sustainable growth, tourism, or the intermunicipal crossovers we share, communication and accountability need to be a priority. As an elected official of the town, I will be working for the people of Rocky Mountain House. I will commit to being your voice to build a stronger, unified, and prosperous community that we can all be proud of to call our home for this generation and many more to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Ralph, we'll move to yourself, please, for your closing remarks.
Yes, thank you. So yeah, I believe in sustainability, and Rocky Mountain House got a lot to offer. I believe bringing myself into council, I will be an asset to my experience in many ways. I share more or less the political view of a conservative person, and I believe it's time to bring spending back to reasonable levels with a constructive recovery plan. And then Rocky Mountain House will have a great future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ralph. Maren, if we could go to you for closing remarks now, please.
Just first, I want to thank everybody who attended this evening, and of course the Chamber for hosting. I appreciate all of the questions and the engagement in the municipal political process, and of course all of the candidates who put your name forward. It takes an immense amount of courage to stand here in front of your community with a vision for your future, and so I thank you all for that. The world around us is changing, and we absolutely cannot afford to be left behind. We need to continue moving Rocky forward. We need to continue to be at those tables. We need to continue to shape policy, not only at the municipal level, but provincially and federally. Rocky Mountain House has been a leader at those tables. We have advocated for extended producer responsibility with the province. We will be rolling out our clean energy improvement program after working with the federal government to help local contractors get work and add clean energy options affordably to all of our citizens. We had groundbreaking agreements that we are now a model from municipal affairs on intermunicipal collaboration and agreements. I can assure you that I will approach each issue with the long-term benefit of our community at heart, and I will share my decision-making process with my constituents. I know you won't always agree with my perspective, but I hope I have gained your trust as someone who will make the best choices I possibly can for the future of our town. The challenges in our future are yet unknown, but I do know that we can rise to meet them with continued momentum, a committed team around the table, and given the opportunity to be around that table, I'm really excited to continue building a bright future for Rocky Mountain House. Thank you.
Thank you, Maren. Faith, we'll move to yourself now for closing remarks, please.
Thanks, Michelle. All right, I just wanted to say thank you again to the Chamber and to everybody who attended and submitted questions. I was planning on saying that for me to, if I were elected, I would be facing a steep learning curve. And after listening to the 4 incumbents tonight, I believe it's even steeper than I thought, but I am willing to learn. And I believe that as a municipal level of government, we have a unique opportunity in that we are the closest level of government to the people. We are the most accessible. And so that allows us to build relationships with our constituents and give them a real voice. And I hope if I'm elected that that is exactly what I'll get to do. So thank you for the opportunity tonight, and I hope you'll have a great night.
Thank you very much, Faith. Marley, we'll move to your closing remarks now, please.
All right. So once again, I just want to say thank you to the Chamber for hosting the forum tonight and to the candidates for being here. I know this will be a learning curve for me, but although this is new territory, if elected, I want our residents to know that I will look forward to the challenges this position holds, and I will always keep Rocky and its residents' best interest in heart, or in mind and in my heart. That is who I am at my core. I genuinely want the best for people, and I love to help people, but I will also fight fiercely for what I feel is right and for our residents. I may not have all the answers right now, but if elected, I will work hard at getting those answers for you. I want to give back to this community that I feel has given so much to me and my family. We all benefit from working together, and I want our residents to be proud of the people they have elected to represent them. I hope to have everyone's support on October 18th. To those of you who choose to vote for me, please know that I appreciate it. Thank you everyone for your time tonight, and best of luck to all the candidates.
Thank you, Marley. Shane, we're going to move to your closing remarks now, please.
I'd like to thank the Chamber for hosting this tonight, and thank you to fellow candidates and residents. Anyone who knows me knows how hard I work. I work mostly with rock and timbers and have always found a way to make them do what I need them to do and to move them into place, sometimes just by coaxing them along. I like to think I can bring that same hard work ethic to a seat on town council. We need a broad range of industry within our community, and we need Rocky to be the place that those industries want to come to. Rocky has an amazing volunteer base. People step up here. Not every community has that. Let's take advantage of that and make this the place to come with your families to do certain events. Our local crime rate here needs to be addressed. Open talks with town administration, residents, and RCMP is a must. Listening to our fellow candidates today, everyone that spoke had something wonderful to offer. No matter the outcome, Rocky's future is actually in very good hands. I'd like to thank you for your time tonight, and please be safe.
Thank you so much, Shane. Dave, we're going to move to your closing remarks now, please.
That's the problem with going last. I sound like a broken record behind everybody. The incumbents, I can't say any more than what they've already said. I guess in closing, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us, getting to know the candidates for the election. I do believe myself I'm qualified to continue to do the job as elected to do. I'm asking again for your votes on election day. I'm committed to see the job through, look forward to the challenges that come. No matter what happens, there's a lot of qualified people on this panel, and I agree. Whoever gets on there, I think Rocky's going to be in good hands, and hopefully I'm one of them. But if not, all the best, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave. Okay. I think that brings us to the conclusion of our meeting here, the forum tonight. Just a couple of things I would like to remind everyone. We do have a forum tomorrow night, September 29th, for county councillors, and another forum next Tuesday, October 5th, for mayoral candidates for the town of Rocky Mountain House. Again, it's the same time, and we'll be hosting in the same format and so on. So if you could please send questions, we'd appreciate it. And the biggest message we'd like to get out to everyone is to please build an informed decision and go vote on October 18th. So again, thank you for everyone attending tonight, and we wish you well, be safe, and we look forward to seeing everyone again soon. Thank you very much.
Michelle, is this the only one you're going to host, or do you guys have plans for a second?
We don't have plans for a second. If there's ideas for that, please shoot me off an email and we can discuss.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening.
See you, everybody.
Bye now.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Good night. Thank you.
Well, Roxanne, they're dropping like flies now.
Awesome, Michelle. Well, I hope everything was okay, and I guess we'll see you tomorrow night.
Yeah, great job. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, thank you, Michelle. Yeah, and we'll see you tomorrow at 6:40.
Sounds good. We'll see you then. Have a great night.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.